Welcome to Her Own Boss, the podcast and community designed to help you find your inner entrepreneur. Her Own Boss is created by Anissa, Megan, Sarah, Lucy, Nikki, and me, Ben, as we start our careers and learn from the inspiring women who can help us along the way.
Hey everyone, this is your host Nikki, and today I'm joined by the fabulous Annie and Mofe Amusu. Annie and Mofe are the ultimate multi-hyphenates. They are sisters, business partners, e-commerce experts, and entrepreneurs. Between them, they have owned side hustles and businesses ranging from clothing personalization, cakes, coaching, and now they both run Epiphany A, the UK's first black hair care and beauty comparison website. This episode is full of their tips and tricks for entrepreneurs on how to build business relationships, handle customer service dramas, and maintain your confidence as a founder. Enjoy!
This episode is sponsored both by Rise, created by Barclays, and Barclays Eagle Labs. Rise and Eagle Labs are on a mission to support female founders shape the future of entrepreneurship by providing access to networks, mentorship, and trading. Search Rise, created by Barclays, or Barclays Eagle Labs to find out more.
Hi Annie, hi Mofe, how are you?
Hi, we're good, thank you.
Hi,
How are
Nikki.
you?
Hello! All right, I've got some quick fire icebreaker questions to get us started. Are you ready?
Yeah,
Okay.
All right, the first question is, who's the messier sister?
Annie.
Annie.
Annie, okay. Well, you guys agreed on that really easily.
Yeah. I think my problem is I have too much stuff. I wouldn't say I was a hoarder, but I'm that person, like, if you need anything for any occasion, chances are I've got it.
Yeah, she's the messier person. Like,
I'm working with a limited space. Okay, I have a lot of stuff.
Okay. Do you know what? But I like that you put a positive spin on that and said that if you ever need anything, I'm your girl. So I respect that. I think that's a good spin on it. Who's more likely to win a Grammy?
me, Mofe. Okay, you know, with Destiny's Child, this is always my example. I would always put myself forward to be the lead singer, regardless of talent. It's about the willingness. So I'd be more likely to win the Grammy. Yeah.
Okay, I love it. And then the third question is, how would you describe each other in one word?
In one word, that's so difficult. Energetic. So Annie.
I would describe my friend as charismatic.
Oh, thank you.
Aww,
That's so nice.
that was lovely. Oh gosh, I love that. Okay, so I actually want to start on this topic of you guys being sisters. So I feel like everyone always says, don't mix business and family or business and friends. But obviously you guys are like living together, grew up together, working together. How does that work? Talk me through that.
So I think for us it works really well because we have such a shared vision. We want to create a legacy and we understand that. So we understand each other's behavior for the most part. Growing up, we were allowed to sort of argue with each other, but not for long. So now I think we've taken that kind of learning into being business partners. Like, you can disagree with each other, but not for long. We always need to have a solution.
And it never gets personal.
Yeah.
We always recognize that there's a line you can't cross.
Definitely. My mum's always like, when you have a fight, not physical, obviously, guys,
Never physical.
but when you have a fight or an argument, don't argue in a way that burns the bridge with that other person.
And we kind of do that with everything. Just because we have an argument with you today doesn't mean we can't call you up tomorrow and say, are you okay? How's it going?
Yeah.
Those kind of things. So it makes it working with each other extremely
I think it's really easy the way we work with each other.
And this is not the first thing we've done together.
Yeah, we've done loads of different businesses. I mean, we've had businesses since we were teenagers.
That's so cool.
Always had each other's back, even with business related things.
So we're just basically, we know what each other's strengths are and what each other's weaknesses are.
One thing that I'd say to anyone that's getting into partnership, make sure you understand that person. Like, don't think of all the fluffy, great stuff like, yeah, we're going to achieve 100 million by October. Think about, how does that person think? How do they work? Do I like their work ethic? If you guys can't agree on those base level things, it's probably going to make things really turbulent. Whereas we agree on those kind of things. So it's a harmonious relationship and partnership. That's what
I love that. I think that's so lovely and such good advice as well. That was going to be my next question to you around how, do you feel like you work better together than you do with other people? Or have you figured out from working together how to build those types of relationships with other people?
Oh,
Ooh.
that's a really good question, actually. So I think personally for me, I work well with a lot of type of people. If they kind of have their stuff together, that's what I would say. Or
Hmm.
if they own their mistakes. But what I've learned from working with Annie is that, even if she doesn't do something at the time she's meant to do it or do it properly or something like that, she'll own it. So I've now taken that to every other relationship,
Hmm.
business or personal. If you can't own your mistakes and the things you're doing that's not so great, I just can't work with you. And I know that off the bat, so I wouldn't get into that working relationship or partnership.
Yeah. I've been in like a mid-level to senior level manager for quite a while now, and I've worked with so many people,
Yeah.
senior to interns to grads, and I try not to micromanage because I've been micromanaged and I hate
Hate
it.
it. Oh my
Absolutely hate
God,
it.
it's the worst.
So I tell people, like, I'm going to give you a task. I give you a time limit to do it.
Mhm.
I will show you how to do it, but I won't sit over you to do it. If you can't do it or whatever, let me
Let me
know
know.
and
Mhm.
own it. I will try and we'll come at different ways of doing the task versus you lying to me or, pretending or whatever. That's more likely to make me spark. And that's literally like, my, that's like my, what's it called? Like pet peeve. My pet peeve is people if you don't own it.
But one thing
Trust
that
me.
I would interject is that I think working with Annie, and because we've worked together for so long, it's always easier to work with Annie moving forward on any other project. Whereas
Right.
I think we take for granted how good our relationship is. Because I've tried to do other businesses with other people, like bring them in, because I'm always like,
Mhm.
okay, guys, let's do it, but I just feel like they just don't match that drive that Annie matches. Like they just don't have the same drive.
Mhm.
I always end up bringing Annie into it anyway.
I get roped into so
Yeah, I'll
much.
end up roping her into it in some type of way. I think it's just so. Oh yeah, I think
I
you
think
just need to find like one business partner that you can really really make things work with and go forwards.
Oh, you guys are so cute, and I feel like full of so much wisdom already. Like we've been talking for like 5 minutes, and already I can like see the quotes coming up about how to like work with people and interpersonal skills. I'm obsessed with it. But you've started to mention something already that I wanted to touch on about kind of previous entrepreneurial ventures. So when did you both know that you wanted to be entrepreneurs, or did you not even really consider it? You just like started?
So funny question. Mofe has known since she was like 3 or 4 years
Yeah, I've
old
been saying it
that she
since I was
wants
a
to be
child.
No way.
Yeah,
when
it wasn't even a thing at the
It wasn't
time.
a thing. So when you asked her, "Oh, when you grow up, what do you want to
Yeah.
be?" She would always say, "I want to be a
A
businesswoman."
businesswoman. Yep.
Oh.
Never faltered. I was like, "I want to be an astronaut. I want to be happy. I want to be a skydiver. I want to be always thinking." Before I was like, "I want to be a businesswoman."
Yeah,
Her answer
I've always
never
known that.
changed.
My gosh, Mofe, you mean business. You just
I,
knew.
I
That is so
did. Like,
strong.
I always knew that that was the path I was going to be on. And this was in the 90s. So it wasn't even a thing that, people were kind of talking about.
Mhm.
Like, I was just finding out, like, just how to do it and how to make it work. It was never anything that
Mm.
someone held my hand and was like, this is how you can be an entrepreneur. Like,
No, it wasn't.
What do you think it was about entrepreneurship or being a businesswoman that drew you to it?
I think for me, it's the sense of one freedom, but also
Mhm.
never being limited by other people's constraints. I know that I want to be an
Mhm.
employer, but the type of employees that I want to have are people that will then give other people opportunities to elevate themselves in their lives. I think for me, that's what entrepreneurship is.
Mhm.
It's just there's no limit, there's no constraints. I want to be able to sleep when I want to sleep, go to, well, apart from the fact we're in a pandemic, go to a different country, and still be productive, still be helping other people. So for me,
Mhm.
it's just like, yeah, freedom is so important to me, that sense of freedom.
For sure. Annie, how about you? When did you figure out you wanted to be an entrepreneur?
You know what? Even
After
to this day, I would never really consider myself an entrepreneur. What's wrong with you?
Interesting.
She's in shock right now. I would say like I am a founder, mostly because I always find a way to, establish my whatever I'm interested in into something, and then Mofa pushes it and makes it a business. I would say like if you say entrepreneur mindset, I'll say that is my sister, but founder, it's a case of I'll always find an idea and make it into something. So I would say I'm not entrepreneurial. I never think, oh, it's a business. I always look, oh, this is an opportunity. Why is no one pushing this? Or why is no one marketing this? Or why is no one thinking this way? That is how I think more. But the funny thing is, obviously, being being next to someone, being raised next to someone like my sister, and the fact that I'm also my mum. She's a crafts person, so we've known how to sew, embroider,
so many things,
craft, everything. So when it comes to my first probably business was embroidering like denim jackets with Looney Tune characters, and I was like 14.
Yeah.
So I was embroidering people's clothes for them, and so I was running a business when I was 14 years old.
Yeah, me too. I just
I just think that's so interesting, Annie, that you wouldn't consider yourself an entrepreneur, but you would say that Mofe is, because I'd say that you both are.
I would say we both are. This is the first time, Nikki. This is the first time I'm hearing her say she doesn't.
You should look at how she's looking at me. But it's so funny because you know what they say. It takes different mindsets to actually drive a company. Even though people say, "Always hire someone who has the same mindset as you." I don't personally believe in that. I believe in, like you said, someone who has the same vision as you, but the same mindset it doesn't work, because then you get siloed into one view.
Interesting.
So like how we did some demographic work for our website recently, and then it turns out me and Mofe, despite living together, breathing together, everything, we are completely different. We have a completely different demographic.
Yeah.
And because of that, I would not see myself as an entrepreneur. So
but
that's
can I ask you a question, Annie?
Sure.
Do you think the reason you don't see yourself as the entrepreneur is because you see me more so as it, and that's what? Because you have that entrepreneurial mindset, but I think it's because you're comparing yourself to me and the way I do things.
She's an entrepreneur coach, by the way. So
yeah, it's because like, I also coach people that want to start side hustles, like based on their skills or because they've got a goal that they want to reach. Say like you're trying to get a deposit together, so you want to start a side hustle. I'm like, okay, do it based on your skills, stuff like that. So I think Annie sees me doing all these different things, and yeah, you're definitely an entrepreneur. That's all I'm going to say on that. Like,
okay, I'm an entrepreneur, I guess.
She's an entrepreneur. She just hasn't realized it and recognized it. But now we're gonna talk about it offline.
Oh no.
Let's move on to the next question because she's not gonna let this go.
Okay, we'll move on to the next question, but I just have to say that I side with Mofe on this one. I think you definitely have an entrepreneurial mindset. You are an entrepreneur, but that doesn't mean your skill set is the same.
Exactly.
But anyway, you guys take it offline. Get back to us. Let us know what you decide on. All right. So you kind of have started speaking about some of the different like entrepreneurial ventures and businesses you've had throughout the years. Actually, I guess first, do you want to like kind of run me through that from like when you first had your first business to now, and then I'll ask my follow-up question.
Okay.
How much time have you got?
Who wants to go first? Okay, so this is Mofe, in case you can't differentiate between our voices.
Nobody
by the
can.
way. So I don't know probably what my first business was. I'm sure it was before I was 13, but the first that I can remember was, personalizing clothing for people. This was in secondary school.
Like year 7 or 8.
Yeah, literally all throughout secondary school was doing that. Then I went to uni, and after finishing uni, I was just like, you know what? I have no idea what I want to do. Always knew I wanted to be a businesswoman, but I went and studied history and politics because I didn't want to fail university. I just wanted to see what I was good at, which is what I suggest. If you're going to uni, do what you're good at, and at least you're going to pass. So then I started a baking business. There was one Christmas. I was just like, you know what? I want to just bake a cake. I don't think I'd ever baked more than a cupcake before, but I was just like, I want to bake a snowman cake, like a 3-tier snowman cake. There were a lot of mishaps with that cake, but I made it and it tasted amazing. And I was just like, oh my God. So then I started, literally from that, a business boomed out of it. I was just like, wait, I can get paid for this. And this was way before people were actually making cakes like, how it is now.
Yeah.
So I did that for like a few years, and then people made me fall out of love with it. So I was just like, yeah, I don't want to do this anymore. Shortly after that, I then started e-commerce, which is like my favorite thing in the world. I started e-commerce. I was selling loads of like bralettes and stuff. During all this time, by the way, I had a 9-to-5 job, massive orders coming from China to the house. My sister was helping me pack it. My mum was helping me pack it. All hands on deck. And I did that for a few years. And then more recently, I've just been doing my coaching because coaching is something that I've done informally for years. Like everyone's always asking me to help them with their businesses, to strategize. And then obviously I do Epiphany A as well with Annie, but that's like for the community growth aspect. So yeah, that's me. I know I've missed loads of stuff out. I've done so much over the last 15 years, I think. But I love it.
Amazing.
Yeah, and mine's mine's a lot, obviously similar to her. Although a lot of people don't know this, I'm actually 2 years older than Mofe. And so we started obviously the whole personalization thing for all of uni, sixth form, that kind of thing. Then obviously went to uni, and then it's so funny. I came back from uni, and I would love to say I was really entrepreneurial when I came out. I knew what I wanted to do. No, funny enough, I fell into blogging. I started my blog, Epiphany A, in 2011. I was one of the first bloggers to actually hit the scene, which is why one of the reasons we've actually kept the name for the website Epiphany A, because if you type in anything about beauty for dark-skinned women, skincare for dark-skinned women, or anything like that, it's got so much historical data that the website is so highly optimized. We have 3,000 keywords. Most companies only have about 100 or 200. So we just decided not to
keep the name
and
keep the legacy.
Keep the legacy going, and also keep the Google SEO and ranking going, because that's so important. So that's when I realized that there was money in being a creative, actually. I was doing what I was doing. I learned so many of my skills I learned SEO, I learned about affiliate marketing, I learned about photography, I learned about macro photography, which is what I specialize in, which is just product photography. And then once I started phasing away from just blogging, because I kind of fell out of love with it, because this was around 2015, 2016, just because as you've probably heard a lot of Black creatives say, it was very, very difficult, because you always have to be better. Maybe you ask to go for a shoot, but then you find out you're the only one not being paid, or things like that. But the whole time this was going, I actually had a 9-to-5 alongside my blog actually growing. So it was like I had these huge tasks on my table, and none of them were shrinking. And then what I did, which I still think in my mind is the smartest thing I did, was I then decided to specialize my day job in beauty. So when I started becoming a beauty affiliate specialist. And so that meant that I now had overview on everything that was happening in the beauty affiliate world that I could then put into my website. And then I could then make very, very specialized content around what I knew internally, what was happening behind the doors. And it also meant that if there was any influencer strategies that could happen, I already knew who would be the best person to go for it, because I was actually entrenched in that influencer world. So it meant that my day job actually progressed very, very quickly. Then my sister, she started the e-commerce journey. I think it was 2015, 2016.
Yeah,
exactly. So when she was building small businesses, I learned about drop shipping and Facebook advertising. I was extremely fascinated, because it was a different aspect of my knowledge. And it also meant that I could give her my knowledge when it comes to SEO, and it comes to ranking on all these kind of things, and who could promote her products for her for very, very cheap. So that's when I think I created my next business, which I think was Christian jewelry. It grew very, very quickly, but there was no love in it. And I think that's my problem. I have love in it. If not, I can't do it. And then that kind of brings us to 2020. So bear in mind, I hadn't touched my blog. I had been paying for my blog, but I hadn't touched it really for about 2 years or so. Then COVID hit, and I then realized that,
there's a gap.
That it was such a huge gap in the market.
So when you think about it, really, your journey has sort of like gone the same way as my journey, in terms of you're helping other people
True, but
build their businesses as well, just in a different way.
Yeah.
Like, I'm working with them like closely, more one-on-one, and through Epiphany A as that business, we're working with them like on a larger scale. See, entrepreneur.
Yeah, and I love both of your stories as well, because I think it kind of shows that entrepreneurship doesn't have to mean like you quit the 9-to-5 job and you put absolutely all of your energy into a startup. You can have a side hustle that is a really successful business at the same time, and you can use your full-time job to benefit your passions and your side hustle, and kind of vice versa as well. So I really like both of those stories. But what I want to ask now is around some of the things that you've learned throughout both of your journeys. So I want to hear about the good and the bad. I think we'll start with the bad, because you always want to start with bad news. So what are your lowest lows?
So there was one time, like 1 month I was going on holiday. This is whilst I was selling like the bralettes and stuff. And I think it was summer. So the money was flowing, the orders was flowing. And so I had a lot of orders to fulfill and I was traveling. I started this business just before I was going to go on holiday and I didn't think it was going to take off so quickly. So PayPal froze my account because they were like, you need to speak to us and make us understand how all this money is coming in so quickly.
Yeah.
Because obviously they're there to make sure there's no fraud. My bank also froze my account. So I was able to get on my bank on the phone to my bank really quickly and they sorted it out. The next morning at the airport, PayPal still hadn't answered my emails. They still hadn't sorted out my issues. I still couldn't do certain payments and I was literally breaking down crying.
She had an anxiety attack.
I'd never had an anxiety attack and I was crying like, how am I meant to get on this plane right now? And my dad took us to the airport and he didn't understand why I was so upset. He's just like, you're making loads of money. Why are you crying? I was like, Dad, you don't understand because customer service is so important. You still have to fulfill, So we had a stop in France and I was literally trying to get on the phone to PayPal and emailing them before going into security to get on my next flight. And that was it was horrendous. I had to do so many refunds. And what you don't want, as a business owner is a lot of negative reviews, even though it's going to arrive. I've told you it's going to arrive. I've even paid for the shipping. I've given you a tracking, but I had to refund so much money just to keep the negativity to a minimum, because that's the one thing about angry customers. Like, they can lie on your business's reputation. They will lie about things and then be like, oh yeah, okay, they've emailed you like privately, like, oh, I've got my order now, thank you, but they're never going to go back and change that poor review.
Yeah, they won't write a positive review to cancel it out.
What other things? Customers are crazy.
Yeah, these are crazy.
No, they are loco.
But we love them. We love you guys.
The funniest things I've ever had is people saying that they shopped with my e-commerce site. They're like, oh no, but I bought it from someone else, but still, I was like, how? I can't control someone else's
service.
customer service. Are you crazy?
They'll leave you like underneath your ads, for example, like terrible comments. They've never even been your client. Trolls are the worst.
So we've had that. That's really.
But we've had great things. Like, one thing for me, I would say, is like when people would send like their product pictures into you with a really nice message. You can have some of those things, and it kind of makes it worthwhile. Or for me, when I help people that I'm coaching, like when they're getting results and they're sending me like little messages like, oh my God, this has changed my life. It literally makes my day. I could be having a bad day in my 9 to 5, but seeing that one thing literally just changes my whole outlook for the day or the week.
How do you deal with the negative comments then? Are there like enough positive ones that it blocks out the negative? Or because I think that puts a lot of people off, the fear of messing up or the fear of getting bad feedback.
Look, for anyone that's scared of getting bad feedback, you just need to man up or woman up, to be honest, because there's no one in life that will absolutely like everything that you're doing. So why take away from the 90% or the 99% that's positive and focus on the 1% that's negative? Like, just keep it moving, because at the end of the day, if that person is not your supporter, they're not even a customer, they're not a follower, they're just being negative. So you just need to kind of tune it out. And if they are a customer, get in touch with them, apologize, even if what they're saying doesn't make sense. Give them a little voucher and then they're going to come back and shop with you anyway. Yeah, like, for example, like what you were saying, think about how many times with fast fashion, obviously, fast fashion's not the best thing out there, but most people have bought a fast fashion product that's either been like super poor quality, but you still return it and then you buy more stuff off the website.
Yeah, there's always a second chance.
Yeah, don't get deterred by negativity. Just rise above it and do what you're there to do. One thing that I've discovered in the last few months is I was in my own way with not sharing so much of myself on that social media and the things that I do. And now I'm just like, you know what? Forget it. I'm putting myself out there because I am amazing. What I'm doing is amazing. The people I'm working with is amazing. And you just have to believe in yourself. And if you don't believe in yourself, surround yourself with people that believe in you so they can keep hyping you up.
Boom, that's the one.
Not yes men, but people that are positive forces in your life that will just keep being like, nah, but don't forget the time you did this, and this,
Yeah, that's so true. Because this beginning of this year, I was burnt out. Like, it's like she's laughing, but I'm not gonna lie. I've probably never really been burnt out before, but anyone around me could say that I was struggling. We were going for, I think I was doing a pitch, and obviously this was COVID, so we were in the middle of lockdown, so I couldn't do my original video, so I had to create an entire setup during my Christmas holiday. And I'm still working a 9 to 5, still trying to support Epiphany A and what we were having
Mhm.
going on. And also at the moment, I'm doing a postgrad on digital marketing. So we still had courses and homework
Oh my gosh,
on
you never
that.
stop.
So I was under it. I couldn't focus on anything. I was just burnt out and tired. And I think a little bit of seasonal depression because it was cold and miserable and raining and everyone wanted to go out.
It really was, yeah.
So I was under it, but luckily I had people like my sister, my parents, my friends, even her
Mhm.
boyfriend being so supportive of me and saying, you know, this,
Aw.
don't worry, I know you're stressing out at the moment, but just focus on getting that one thing sorted. One thing sorted. What do you need
Yeah.
support on? What do you like? If
Yeah.
you're sending emails, my phone was just like, I will email the members. You just focus on getting your video edited and sorted. Let's just go one task, one task.
One step at a time. Yeah. Yeah, that's so important. But I think now it'd be good. Let's talk about the good. So like, what are you both most proud of from your entrepreneurial ventures?
No one's ever asked me that before. Okay, Addie, you can go first.
Really?
No
one's ever asked
no one
us
ever asked me
that.
what are you most
Proud
proud of.
I'm so proud of the skills we learned because it's so transferable and you can't put a
Mhm.
money on that because now it's a case
Mm.
of you came to me with a business idea or business, I can get you live on any on Shopify with SEO, take your pictures for you, do your SEO, your affiliates, everything in less than a day. I can
Yeah.
literally set up an e-commerce website and connect it to all the APIs within 24 hours. I think this whole entire journey of 15 years, we just know e-commerce like the back of my hand. And I think that's what I'm so proud of because
Yeah. I think we take that for granted.
we take that for granted because
actually,
there's nothing
how-
about
how-
e-commerce that we don't know.
I'm sure there's things we don't know. Calm down. I think what I'm most proud of is never giving up. Like, I'm most proud of that in my
Mhm.
journey because I've had high highs and low lows, you know. As I said, there's been times that I'm making over one grand a day. There's been
Mhm.
times that I've like blown like 23K plus on like Facebook ads in like a month and been like, oh my God, what have I just done with my life and my money and stuff like that, you know? But each time I just don't give up. I'm like, I know my journey, I know my ultimate goal in life. I know that I can't help other people if I'm not moving forward. So I've just never given up. And I think a lot of people fall down and stay down. You know, you're just stay in your 9 to 5 that you don't love
Mhm.
and stuff like that. But I'm never that person. Anytime I don't love something, I'm like, okay, yeah, it's time
It's
to
time to
move
go.
on. Yeah.
Because like you know how they like when you talk to investors or VCs and anything, they always say, what's your exit strategy?
Oh yeah, you have to have an extra
So I
strategy.
always tell people like, but what did you learn from this business that you can take to another business
Exactly.
or you can take to another person? That's what you should really focus on.
Yeah.
Like I don't really believe in the word failure. I believe that there's no failures. It's just
Yeah.
new opportunities.
I agree with you 1,000%.
But I would say you never stand still and you never stay down because standing still is going backwards slowly.
Yeah, because everything is
And
moving
you just
forward
have to keep
past
moving
you.
forward.
But one thing that I do want to say for anyone that might listen to this, that might be down at the moment, we're not saying you're a failure.
Do not think that. Do not think that, please. Don't think that.
I just think it might sound that, you know, we've never had times that we're like, okay, I don't want to do this anymore. No,
we have.
I've had that personally, you know, that there's been a time that I was just like, okay, I'm not doing any business for a whole year because
Mhm.
my loss was so great and so
Yeah.
unexpected. It's like I need a little break from this, and there's nothing wrong with that. Rising back up and doing what ultimately you know you're meant to do.
It's like cutting your losses. It's a case of like if you look at Instagram, they are a photo image sharing platform. But if you look at how it was when it first started, was it like 10 years ago versus now? Now they announced affiliates e-commerce. They have a basket checkout. They're trying to become like, you know, a one-stop place. So, but why do you think that they are doing it? They're doing it to say they're going forward. But also what even also I always tell people is that they've always had a lot of features that they've then decided, oh, we're not doing this anymore.
Yeah.
Why? It's not profitable. They don't cry about it. Say, oh my God, no. They just say, you know what? It's not working anymore. We've seen that people don't want this. We thought people wanted it. They don't want it. Let's move on. So, and that's why we're always telling people, like, if big companies can say, actually, we took an L, why do you feel that you can't take an L?
Yeah. Everyone takes L's.
Everyone takes an L. Like, I'm sorry.
true.
There's a reason why Bumble and Tinder are around because people have taken too many L's, okay? It's around just because it's just people sharing their L's.
Mhm. Oh, I don't know. I feel like I'm so inspired by you guys and like so much wisdom there. Again, I can see the like social media quote posts coming in already in my head. So I've got 2 more questions for you both. The first is, if you could both give one piece of advice to your younger selves when you were just starting out in entrepreneurship, what would it be?
Oh, okay. I already know this one because it's advice that I live by. Everyone in your life has your best interest at heart. Ultimately, like the people that you know have your best interest. That's all great, but don't listen to them. Go for what you believe you need to go for. Like, do not limit yourself. If you think I need to spend 5K on this course, do it. There's been so many times that my mum, bless her, love her loads, she'll be like, oh no, it's too expensive, don't pay for this. And I'm just like, no, I've got a strong feeling about this. Not always the right strong feeling, but I've got a strong feeling about this. It's gonna work because I'm super optimistic. And I've just gone ahead with it anyway. And for the most part, that's actually what led us here.
Yeah.
That I'm just like, no, guys, we are going for it. I don't care what you guys are saying. I don't want anyone else's fears and doubts to ever impede my journey.
Don't stop working for free.
Yeah.
I think it's because I see a lot of my skills, and we think we take our skills for granted.
Yeah.
Like I take like all my skills for granted just because I find it so easy. Like it came to me so easily, so I can't imagine charging for it.
Yeah.
So now it's a case of like I find it difficult to charge people, but
that's why she has me.
That's why I have her, because we just basically swap it around, because I'm happy to ask people for money on her behalf.
I know. That is so funny because it's true. I hate asking for money for my skills, as she said, because it comes so easy to me.
Yeah.
Why I used to see Annie like not getting paid for stuff. I'm like, why did you say you do it for free? Like, don't work for free for sure. I mean, that is for everyone. That's advice. Like, once in a while you can do something free of charge, but make sure there's some added value that that person is also giving you something back. Not clothes, not samples, but they're giving you something back, like a service, like maybe doing your personal branding on social media. But anything else, like you're just devaluing yourself, and then you're going to get really frustrated and disheartened.
Yeah.
And you have to know your worth, right? I think that's so important, and probably something that I would say women in general, not everyone, are not as good at doing, and tend to like take themselves for granted, I think, at least in my
experience. Yes.
I see it all the time.
But, you know, as easy as she's saying that, it is really difficult, because one thing that I get told all the time is the stats for investing for Black women. And women, but it's disheartening. I'm not gonna lie, because I've gone to so many like accelerator programs, all the kind of things, and they were just basically like, it's so crazy that if you were a white man, you would be funded at the moment. They have actually told me this, like,
but that's why you have to go for it anyway.
I always tell people, like, don't feel like we don't have roadblocks. We are experiencing a roadblock right now, but we're like looking at different avenues all the time and saying, okay, you know what, maybe the straight and narrow, you know, the one part that everyone takes, that's not for us. Let's look at other ways that it can happen, because luckily we live in an age and a time that there's so many different avenues
to success.
So stab each other in the back trying to go for the one avenue just because it's the most popular.
Yeah, I love that. All right, my final question, and one that I ask all guests, is what gives you confidence?
What gives me confidence?
I think what gives me confidence.
I don't want to sound big-headed.
No, don't.
I have such a high self-esteem.
Yeah.
Like, we think we're amazing.
Like, I literally, honestly, think I'm amazing.
I love that. I think you're amazing as well, if it helps. Honestly, you know, I completely agree.
When people ask me, like, they was like, oh, why do you always say that you're amazing or you're good? I was like, my sister's gonna laugh. I was like, I think I'm amazing because my dad said that you should look at him. Look how amazing he is. Look how his skin is popping. Look how his hair, like, look how his hat is just basically, everyone sees his hat, wants to buy it, you know, and I'm his child. So why don't I think I am amazing by default? He was like, do you not think that someone as amazing as he is cannot have an amazing child?
Yeah.
He was like, are you not understanding?
I think that's so true. I think really the confidence comes from the what our parents instilled in us, and that's not something I've ever thought about, because as I said, I didn't want to be big-headed. I just feel like I'm amazing. Like, and you should already see that I'm amazing. But now that my sister just said what she said, it's because it comes from our parents and the confidence that they've instilled in us for so many years.
And my mom also said this, like, every time you mention something negative about yourself, even if a person had never noticed it before,
Now
they now
will.
notice it.
So
So
don't do
if
it.
you start saying, oh, it's like, how many times have you said to someone, oh my God, you look great today? I was like, oh, but you know, I've got a pimple. Oh, I love your makeup today. They're like, oh, but I've got a pimple. You didn't notice the pimple before.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Now you're going to be like, oh, pimple.
Literally. I can't unsee it.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't even say I'm not like a vain person or anything, but you know, like no one can tell me nothing.
Nothing. I'm popping. I'm about that life.
I know that yes, there's things that other people might find undesirable in me or my looks and stuff like that. But for me, I'm at peace knowing that I love myself, and anything that I want to improve about myself, it's not because someone has told me I need to improve it. It's because I want to improve it. You just have to love yourself and keep bigging yourself up. You know, just that attracts more positivity into your life.
I love it. I mean, I don't like to have favorites or anything, but I think that is one of the best answers I've ever heard to that question. I just love that you guys, I mean, you should own it, right? Like we shouldn't have to question our confidence and what you were saying there about it when someone compliments you. My reaction is exactly the same, to say something else to like put me down so that I don't come across as too like egotistical, but it's not. Like if you look good, you look good. Like own that.
You know, it's like one of those things, like people always say, oh, don't you feel like you're coming off a bit, you know, egotistical? But I always just say, I do this whole song and dance about it. I don't just, when you give me a compliment, I won't just go, oh, thank you. I'm gonna be like, yes. I kind of brings people into it. And then I will kind of turn that exact same song and dance to them.
Yeah.
And it always boosts them up and
yeah.
everything. Just because we realize that we live in an age where people are so quick to put you down, or even you are quick to put yourself down because you are comparing. But what you are not happy about, someone else would kill to be in your shoes.
Exactly.
Yeah. And you know what, like hearing you both give that answer doesn't sound big-headed at all. If anything, like I feel more empowered for listening to it, because I'm like, well, they're, you know, they love themselves. They're amazing. Well, you know, that could be me. That could be me.
It can.
It can.
Amazing. Okay. Well, everyone listening to this right now, love yourself. Thank you for listening. And Annie and Mofe, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I've enjoyed this so much.
Thank you so much for having us.
We really appreciate it.
We appreciate it so much. Thank you.
Of course, anytime.
Thanks for listening. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss an episode. You can find out more about Her Own Boss at herownboss.co.uk or by searching for us on LinkedIn and Instagram.